Right. Well, good morning, friends. It's good. Good to see you this morning. It's kind of weird, though, right? Yeah, just such a mix of feelings and just gratitude for seeing all of you here this morning. And thanks for your patience as we kind of get rolling a little on the slow side as we figure out how to be in person once again. My name is Chris, and the band and I have just we've got some songs that we would love to connect with you on, to share with you and to be in with you. And so as always, but especially in these COVID times, I'll encourage you to do some things like stand up and move around, and just trusting that you're going to do what you got to do to feel comfortable and safe and all that. So with that in mind, I would love if you just stand up, and we're going to start off with this good old Mumford & Sons tune, so I'd love to have you singing along. I fickle my heart and I lose my eyes. I struggle to find any truth in your lies. Now my heart stumbles on things I don't know. This weakness I feel I must finally show. Lend me your hand and I'll conquer them all. But lend me your heart and I'll just let you fall. Lend me your eyes, I can change what you see. So you must keep totally free. We'll sing that again. How fickle my heart and how woozy my eyes. I struggle to find any truth in your lies. Now my heart stumbles on things I don't know. This weakness I feel I must finally show. Oh, wake my soul. Sing that. Oh, wake my soul. In these bodies we will live, in these bodies we will die. Where you invest your love, you invest your life. In these bodies we will live, in these bodies we will die. Where you invest your love, you invest your life. Let your bodies be. Do what you gotta do. Let's sing this part out, will we? Oh, wake my soul. Oh, wake right, thank you. I don't know about you, but I just feeling like we need that kind of warm, feeling present, feeling with ourselves, to let your heart, your soul, and your body awake in this space. And just want you to know that it's important that you're here. It's rich and beautiful, and who you are in this space matters. A lot of people that care about you here. And so this is a song that I wrote just not too long ago. It's called If You're Here. And I know the chorus is simple enough. I sang it maybe just once, maybe twice on Zoom. But I know that you can sing along with it. And so I'm not going to worry about teaching you here real quick, but I do want you to just to hear this and let these words just kind of echo in you. Because I know it can be hard to feel like it's true. Like when you're here, you're home, you have family, you have people that love you here that you can lean on. So I would just encourage you to sit with the depth of that truly. Take a couple deep breaths and just know that you're loved.
Space to make it go.
'cause we, 'cause we, 'cause oh, I said we are family. Thank you.
Well, hey, everybody. Good morning. You can have a seat. Welcome, welcome. It feels so great to be back together in person. There's all kinds of fun things up here. I need some space. So great to be back together. Welcome to you if you are on the live stream as well. I love that's an option nowadays. And welcome if you are newer or newish or visiting us for the first time today. We're just so glad that you chose to be here with us. So I am Erin McGee, and how does it feel to be back in person today? It feels a mix of things. It feels familiar and a little uncertain. I feel excited and a little anxiety producing, just, those extremes that we all are getting used to navigating during this pandemic time. But in one word, I promise, Chris and I did not talk before this, but in one word, what is Fabric to me? How does it feel to me? Home. So thanks for that song. It does feel like home, and I hope for you as well, or if not yet, hopefully at some time in the future, whether it's home or belonging, knowingness, however that feels to you. And what I love about the idea of home is the door is always open. There's always more room, whether it's us growing and changing as individuals or collectively, or making more space for those that we don't know yet and haven't met yet. So a couple housekeeping things. Yes, we all know COVID very well by now, I can see, because you all have your masks on. But thank you for being vaccinated, if you're able, for wearing a mask. We are encouraging people to get your hands on medical grade masks if you can, like a KN95. I saw a pink one. Melissa has a pink one this morning. An N95, a surgical mask. And just communication, right? So ask for what you need. Say what you need and ask others before you approach them, and just stay home if you're sick as well or having symptoms, and just lead with care. I know we all do that naturally anyway around here. Another item too, if you are new here, the bathrooms are just down the hallway here. We've got some water over there, and we are a relaxed crew, so feel free to get up and move about as needed. Welcome also to our kids. It's so great to see you not just like on a little window, on a tablet, on a laptop, and see the wiggles and your full bodies and how much you've all grown. As soon as I'm done talking here, you all are going to go to the gym for building back belonging, which sounds like something we could all be doing, and we are by being here this morning. I heard that next week we'll all be here together in the Commons, and we're going to get to hear more about the middle school seed projects. I think some of us know a little bit here and there, but I'm excited to dive a little deeper and hear what you all have been up to and how that's been, what kind of experience that's been for you. A couple other housekeeping things. Hopefully you got a Sunday paper when you came in. If not, where are they? Right over there by Heidi. Thank you. Right there. Feel free to get up if you didn't get one. It's a great place to follow along and see what we've got coming up. In there is also your communication card. We are asking, actually, if everyone could pull that out right now and just fill it out, at least at a minimum. Let us know that you were here in the event that we do need to do any contact tracing or send an email if anybody happened to come in with COVID this morning. Hopefully not. And I really do want to sincerely encourage you to not just put your name on it. There's a whole space on the back. Some of us, it's not even enough room for some of us. But it is a place to share what's on your heart, to give feedback, just let Fabric know what's up. Anything goes on the communication card. They are reviewed every week by staff and a prayer team. And I do just want to say that what you write on here is really taken to heart, and Chris is going to say a little bit more about that later. So take advantage of that. Those will go in the baskets that are under the chairs that we'll pass around later. Also in there is a giving envelope. I know many folks support our community through automated giving, which is fantastic. Thanks so much for doing that. But a special note today, if you haven't already heard about Greg Meyer, our lead pastor, who just happens to not be here today, but he is the brainchild behind this community, along with others in this room 15 years ago. And we are excited to send him on sabbatical. It's going to be really important for him and for this entire community. There's a lot more we could say about that. There's a whole separate landing page on our website for it, but it's not free. And by the way, the sabbatical will be this upcoming spring and summer. I believe it's June through September-ish. And the sabbatical team, and if anyone's out there, say something if I get this wrong, I believe is aiming to raise $12,000 by the end of this month. Yeah, thank you for the thumbs up. $12,000 by the end of this month, which I think is a totally achievable goal, if not something that can be surpassed. And it's really important not just to support Greg and Chris on taking some time away from the community, but the staff who will be here taking on bigger roles as well. So, and like any giving, any amount matters. Don't worry too much about what you can fit in your budget right now. It all does add up. So please I invite you to consider doing that today because they are going to be phone banking and could potentially save a phone call. You can put that in the baskets later as well. What am I missing housekeeping? I think that's it there. Yes, so I did not come up with a smooth transition to this next piece. And I think many people are aware, but if you are not yet, I'm so sorry to be sharing this right now. But our dear friend, Ann Skoglund, dear friend and lover of babies and children, Ann passed away February 13th. And there was a very meaningful and heartfelt celebration of her life last Saturday. And there's so much more we could obviously say. But for the purposes of today, a couple things. First of all, there's a separate insert in your Sunday paper today. I'll talk about the jewelry in a minute. But just thanks to Heidi and others who have this information in here and put together resources to talk to people of all ages of what it's like to lose somebody that we love and miss and wish was still here. And so it's a hard time for everybody, and knew pretty much everybody. Excuse me. And I do just want to say that if this is new news for you today, or even if it isn't, there are so many of us that would be happy to be with you in those big feelings. So this is a time for us to come together, and please just speak up if you need that. There's so many of us in this room who would be happy to do that with you. So Anne was a dear friend of mine, a close friend of mine for several years, and many of us, there's like 20-some women that got to be in a small group life with her. We believe it started in like 12 or 13 years ago, and we've been talking about how Anne was the glue of this group life group. She's been in it since the beginning with many of us women over the years. So this Wednesday was our first group together where after her celebration of life. So, you know, we're all going to be at different points with our grieving process, and we're all going to remember Anne in different ways and recall memories at different times. So one thing we did this week to just honor and remember Anne and also have a tangible and visible thing with us in all the weeks and years to come is, this is our rope, if you've been around, from our pause box around Christmas time. We hadn't done anything with it yet as a group, so as we went around and shared our highs and lows, we each did a little weave, and then we tied a knot to honor and remember Anne. And so again, this will be not only a visual for us to remember and honor the life that Anne shared with us and us with her, but also just a really visual reminder that she's still woven with us and will continue to be, and with all of us. So again, we all are going to remember and recall Anne in different ways and at different times, but there's a couple collective ways that we get to do that if you're interested. So one is today, if you didn't already see the jewelry over here or the pieces that I'm wearing, if you didn't know, one of Anne's many talents and a real gift of hers was making jewelry. And she left behind a massive amount of already made jewelry and a copious amount of beads. And our friend and also group member, Allie Berner, has graciously taken in all of the jewelry. And per the request of Anne's parents and family, the jewelry is available for purchase, and the proceeds are coming back to Fabric. So please stop by if you haven't already. I had heard it was mostly bracelets and earrings, but I can't really tell. So it looks like there's a lot of beautiful things left. And then the last thing is that later today at 2 o'clock, there's a memorial bike ride. Yes, today. So far, I don't have my phone up here, but it hasn't been canceled yet. These are hardcore cycling people that Anne were a big part of Anne's life, and Anne rode with them regularly since like 2013. And they are wonderful folks. They've put a lot of thought and intention into this ride. So let me first say, I know most of us are not set up to ride in the winter, but here's where, if it would feel good and right for you today, at 2 o'clock at Father Hennepin Bluff Park, on the St. Anthony Main side of the Stone Arch Bridge there's a band shell. All the riders are going to be gathering, but they're not going to roll out until like 2:30. So if you want to come and meet these folks who knew Anne in a different way, I know they would love to see you. I'm going to be there. I'm going to try. We'll see what happens. And then there's stops. All of this is on. I don't think we have a link or anything up here, but I think you can find it on, I know you can find it on Facebook. If you go to my Facebook page, it's been in the weekly emails. There's a route planned, and so even if you're not on two wheels, you can stop by. Any of the stops that have all, again, they all meant something to Anne, and they put a lot of thought into what this is going to look like. And then at 3:30, we're going to be at Arbiter, I think is how you say it, Brewing on Minnehaha and Lake right there, around 3:30. And so you're welcome to come to that part as well and help honor and remember Anne that way, or just laugh at those of us trying to ride in the snow. And the thing we know about Anne, I don't think she was set up to ride in the winter either, but she would not be stopped by bad weather. She would have gotten out there. So, okay, that is all that I have. So kids, it's time for you to get to go to the gym. And the rest of us, why don't we stand up and as you feel comfortable with COVID care and all of that, find somebody either you don't know or haven't seen in a while, introduce yourself, and just check in. Just check in with one another. Thanks.
All right. Well, as we find our seats again and start wrapping up those conversations. So, the rest of these songs that you'll hear today, I just want to kind of say something briefly about that, and that's that they all came off of a list of songs that Anne had written on her communication card over the years that she really loved, and so this next song we're going to sing is one of those. The two songs you'll hear at the end are songs that she had also named as ones that were meaningful to her, and so it's just our little hat tip to Anne in that. And for this song, this is a song from Ray LaMontagne that really helps me feel grounded, centered here, and so I encourage you to just let that kind of let yourself be here. Sit with that a little bit. Okay, this is called Be Here Now. Child, it's only time it will go by. It's only places, it's in you, that's where you'll find kindness. Be here now. Be here now. Be here now. Be here now. Don't lose your faith in me. I will try not to lose faith in you. Don't put your trust in walls, 'cause walls will only crush you when
I love that musical. Why are you talking about it?
Not that rent. You didn't pay the rent. I'm getting nasty grams on my phone from Ray. A bunch of devil emojis with eggplants, whatever that means. Boy, he's really peeved.
Well, I thought you were paying it. I Venmo'd you.
Venmo? I don't Venmo. I use PayPal.
I don't use PayPal. Look, it was either Venmo or AutoPay for my bank.
Well, either way, it wasn't paid.
Well, do you have it?
No, you were going to pay it. I hate asking for your half. So this was going to be your month.
What do you mean my month? Since when is it, like, when do we have your month and my month?
I told you I didn't like having to remind you about it. And I said we would just alternate months.
You did? I mean, I remember you mentioning not wanting to remind me, but it didn't sound like a big deal. And I mean, I got it, so I said I'd set up the AutoPay.
You said you would set it up. You didn't tell me you had set it up. Speaking of wood, you owe me for 2 bundles from the fall.
Come on. I mean, do I have to tell you everything?
This is rent. It's serious stuff.
Well, I thought it was clear. What wasn't clear is that we'd switched to paying every other month.
I suggested it when we talked.
Okay, so, I mean, I sort of remember you saying something about taking turns, but it sounded like you're just like throwing out ideas. And I thought we settled on me sending my half of the rent without having to be reminded.
There were 3 months last year when I didn't get your rent until I asked you for it.
Okay, I'm sorry. I mean, it slips my mind sometimes. I wasn't trying to stiff you.
You know, so it just makes sense. We alternate months. And then you don't have to worry about reimbursing me.
But I told you it was taken care of.
No, you told me you were going to take care of it. And I told you that we were going to alternate months.
No, you told me you didn't like to have to ask me for my half. You barely even floated this idea of alternate months out and... Dude, it seems like you thought you told me you wanted to change how we paid rent. And I thought I told you that my paying you half of the rent was settled, but it seems like neither of us quite heard each other.
Well, I think I hear you now.
Finally, yeah. I mean, I hear you too.
Sorry, this is a sore point for me. I spent a bunch of years when me and my other roommates could hardly afford our rent, and it was always a mess.
Yeah, I mean, that'd make me a little sensitive about it too.
And then I get nasty grants from our landlord. I mean, I've been there a few too many times.
Yeah. I'm sorry. It's not fun. Okay, so right now I gotta go, but you got a plan for tonight?
No, what's up?
I was thinking, why not grab a beer and dinner and we can just like work some of this stuff out.
I like that.
All right, so we can knock out a plan for this, and then let's talk about that trip to Burning Man.
Yes, I like that idea.
All right, so you can drive to town all tap, right? I think it's your turn.
No, it's not.
I drove last time and you said you would take next time.
Dude, I'll see you later.
Okay, I'll see you later.
Thank you, Kenny and Chris. I know I've never been in that situation, that kind of miscommunication. No, not at all, right, family? I'm Melissa Locke, happy to be here now with all of you. And as I think of being here this morning, I also think of everything else that's here with us and everything out there. These are hard times. These are hard times. And I've been thinking about a line in a song that I really love called, or by Carrie Newcomer, and she says, "I don't know if everything will turn out fine. All I know is there is help in hard times." So I'd like to dedicate our time together, all that we've been doing, and the singing and the moving and the listening and my words, to being help and to being helped in hard times. There are a lot of people coming here from a lot of different places, so know that you are home. And someone in my life that helps me feel at home sent me a poem yesterday that I want to share with you as we begin and let it help us dedicate this time. I will bring my whole messy human self because I just know, deep in my bones, that you are already running to meet me. There are no cuts on this team. You said you'd take it all. So here I come, me and all my humanity. We are on my way. Thank you, Sarah Speed, for those words, and LJ, who sent them to me. So we are talking about this word better these weeks. And so you listen to our podcast maybe, or I would like you to catch up with them. We've had a couple so far on a better self and better conflict, and this week's is built very much on those two, and it's better than better communication, something that we can all get a little better at, I believe. And do you guys should I move? I'm hearing a buzzing. Closer? Okay, we'll see. So hopefully we can make it better, right? Because sometimes better is good. A lot of times better is good, and that's the thing about this word. We need to pay more attention to it. So better than better communication. We always want our fabric messages to be practicable and to matter for your real life, but I doubt anybody came here for like a communication skills workshop. And if you did, there's way better places to go than from me. And from fabric, but I think that better than better communication that I want to talk about is not actually about skills. I think it's about something else, because we know plenty of people who are just fine communicators in this world, right? Can you think of a few very skilled ones out there who are controlling narratives quite well and causing a lot of harm, a lot of violence, a lot of suffering? So I think the skills is not what we're talking about. It's good to get better at conveying information, at maybe helping make your point, at shaping the narrative. I'm practicing communicating right now. I'll probably be doing a little more reading than I wish I were, but practice, right? So practicing these skills matters. But I think this all reveals a better than better question. So we always talk about better questions, but now I think we're going to have to say better than better questions at Fabric. And so there's a place to write your thoughts down as you follow along, and the top of that has this better than better question about this word, better. And it's, what is the purpose of your better? So when you hear that word, why better? We need to stop and think about the purpose. And that really comes clear with better than better communication. This is an amazing power that we have to communicate with each other, we humans. We can use it for good or ill and everything in between. And so what I want to help us glimpse today is this better than better communication that stretches toward connection, is how I'm talking about it. It's toward connection and not control. It's beyond the mechanics and the function of communicating, and it's really about something simple that I think we all want and need, and that's to see and be seen. So it's easy to point our fingers out at the obvious control freaks out there, the pundits, the story spinners, the tyrants, right? But I think this better than better conversation gives us a reality check that there is a part of all of us that's susceptible to that tyrannical force, that tyrannical call of better, better, better all the time. It's that voice that's always comparing and judging ourselves, thinking that we're not quite enough, we're not good enough, we're not doing enough. So what does a tyrant like that need? They need control, right? And better so easily takes control of us again and again. We see it in our communication. Greg named some of this last week as he described how we get stuck in high conflict and how much harm that causes and how much we miss, how much growth doesn't happen because of it. So that's why we're looking at better than better communication. Better communication, again, isn't all that bad. It starts out with a different purpose. And the purpose matters. So let's look at the definition of just plain old better communication. I think that's one that strives to understand and to be understood, and this is the key word here, from my perspective. So, not a bad thing, but by itself it can lead to trouble. So let's break this down. You heard these happening in our skit with Kenny and Chris. It looks for these things. One of the things it looks for is clarity. So if I just say it better, did you hear Kenny like repeating himself over and over? If I just say it louder or slower or funnier, fill in your own blank there. Maybe I need to be more clever or more succinct, or maybe I need to say it longer, more often. Or what if we want them, if only they would be more clear, right? Then I would get it. Better communication might also look for certainty. So knowing, proving, defending, offering advice that is not asked for. I told you, I can't help if you don't get it. Do I have to explain everything? Like I said, I took care of the rent, I Venmo'd my part. By the way, do you know how to track your Venmo account? Because I could show you right here, right? No thanks. I love Anne Lamott describes help as the sunny side of control. I like that one. All right, so self-centering, that's the third thing that I think better makes us start getting sucked into. And what we do then is we show disinterest, we dismiss, we diminish. So this can sound like things we're probably familiar with, both doing and having it done to us. I'm sure it wasn't that bad, they love you. Maybe you just need to relax a little. Can we just watch that movie right now? And ironically, this self-centering that we do, it actually diminishes our own real selves too. We don't really know or have the words to express what we really want, what we really need, and so we get uncomfortable and we just kind of shove that feeling that there might be more going on in us away. And we pretend we're fine, we don't have any needs and wants. But this is not good. We might think it's like self-sacrifice or, giving of ourselves, but actually that is self-diminishment, and it doesn't help us communicate or connect. When we could be connecting, instead we're giving all our attention to protecting this falsely fragile self-worth that we think isn't enough and needs to measure up and improve to be better. So this is what we want to move away from and toward something different. And I want to have a little fun here. To help us do that, I'm going to need a couple of volunteers. This is going to be easy and fun, so don't worry. If you know something about music, you might have an upper hand. Anyone? Just two. Jill, Chris, Ewan. Are you okay with it? Okay, awesome. This is great. So we are going to be working with some music here. And I know both of you are pretty familiar with music, musicians, you hang out with a lot of musicians, listen to a lot of music. So I think, Jill, you're going to be the tapper. I'm going to have you be the tapper. And Chris is going to be the listener, okay? So Chris, I need you to just turn around and look at everyone, but not at me, because I'm going to be holding up the names of some songs. So for example, Mary Had a Little Lamb. Everybody, do we all know that song still? Okay, so we would tap that on the table. Mary had a little lamb, right? And then you would guess what it is, but we won't be singing, okay? All right, so I have 4 songs. Hold up your fingers. How many do you think Chris and Jill will be able to connect on? 0, 1, 4, 2, 4, 3. We're all over the board here. All right, well, let's give it a try and see what happens. All right? Yeah, I think you'll know them. All right, let's start with, this one's pretty easy. We all know this one, okay? Can everyone see this? Okay. Okay. Chris, any guesses? You got it? Wow, okay. All right. It was happy birthday. I know, yeah. I'm a little worried here. Okay. All right, here's the next one, everybody. We've all heard this one. Okay.
Okay.
You got it. All right, I think any more is just gonna. Any idea?
Sounded a lot like Happy Birthday.
Well, don't sing that to me on my birthday. It was the Star Spangled Banner. All right, two more. We got this. All right. All right. U of M people. That's a hint. Minnesota Rouser. That was a hard one. You're not, sorry. Okay, I really think Chris is gonna get this one. See, I really do. You know that? Okay, it's the last one. Help him out. Do it again. Oh my gosh, it's so hard. You have been an amazing sport. We will rock you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking that.
Yeah. Thank you, you guys.
Sure.
Wow. All right. That worked. Okay, it was so clear, right, to us? It's in my head, I could just hear the music, right? And Chris knows a lot of music. Yeah. So I think this is a great example of what we do when we communicate. It just seems so clear to us, right? And we don't really have empathy for that the other person is hearing something totally different. They have their own universe, their own context, their own lack of context in this case, right? So really, the fact that we can successfully communicate is somewhat of a miracle. We made a diagram. It's based on many years of research. No, just kidding. But it's kind of based on this, I think we all kind of know this is what's going on. And I left space on your Sunday paper to make your own sketch, your own version of this. But think about what has to happen for us to communicate. So in my head, I've got all these thoughts and ideas and feelings, memories, these experiences, and I want to share them with you. So I'm going to choose some words. You would have to know these words. I'm going to have a tone. I'm not going to, like you can say things in different tones, and you can say really happy things in a sad tone, and it's quite confusing, right? So there's our tone, there's our body language. We are very good as humans at picking this up from each other. So hopefully all of that goes into your brain, the meaning. I've chosen those things, I've made this meaning, tried to communicate it to you, and then you take that and you are making some kind of meaning in your head. And I really don't ever know if you actually got it. I don't know. How do we know that? And then you look at what's all going on around each of us, too. I have my world of memories and experiences and culture and identity, and that is all affecting how I am hearing you, right? And it's affecting how I'm sharing. And then so do you, and yours is different than mine, and thank God it is, right? We need this difference in our world. It is what makes our world so special and so full of life. So when you look at all that needs to happen, it's amazing how connected we end up feeling and how we can communicate. In her new book, Atlas of the Heart, Brene Brown names story stewardship as one of the 3 main skills that we need to foster meaningful connection, she calls it. And I think it's ways to weave life deeply. We talk about that here. And she says story stewardship means honoring the sacred nature of your story and my story, the ones we share and the ones we hear. So when we treat our stories as sacred, as holy, yours and mine, and even that guy's too, we honor our humanity, we build trust, and we weave deeper connections. I think that makes it sound, communication a little intimidating. Like, isn't it just, we do it every day, right? We drive a car, a lot of us every day too, and forget, like, dang, this is a powerful machine, right? But our communication is power. Even though a lot of times, I'm just at the grocery store, I just need to function. Give me a burger and a side of fries and a Sprite or whatever, right? Just tell me what I owe you for the rent, I'll take care of it, it's done. Bing, bang, boom. Tell me what you need. But isn't that part of the problem? We turn these opportunities for human connection into transactions, into functional things. And that's really sad. We're missing something. It really downsizes who we are, and it diminishes the potential of who we are together. The potential of just our simple words, our body language. So, I can relate to doing this as a parent, right? Every day, probably. You trying to do important things that are actually important, and your kid is asking for, can I just have a little more screen time? And we should really talk more about that, but yes, just take the more screen time and go down and just leave me alone for a while, I have some work to get done, right? Or your coworker wants to talk about something that happened and didn't go well, and you're like, I'm sure it went great. I'm sure they didn't mean anything by it. It's fine, right? We're diminishing things. And we don't do this stuff because we're bad. We don't. We do it because we're humans and we're tired sometimes, right? Or we're worried, we're hurting. We do it because people are just so people-y. We're so people-y, you and me. And connecting is hard, but it's also wonderful, and our brains are incredibly made for it. There's a wonderful neurologist who I think might be from Russia, named Yuri Hassan, and works at Princeton and did a TED Talk, and I want to just share the first couple minutes with you here.
Imagine that we invented a device that can record my memories, my dreams, my ideas, and transmit it to your brain. That will be a game-changing technology, right? But in fact, we already possess this device, and it's called Human Communication System and Effective Storytelling. And to understand how this device is working, we have to look into our brains. And we have to formulate the question in a slightly different manner. Now we have to ask, how these neural patterns in my brain that are associated with my memories and ideas are transmitted into your brains. And we think that there are two factors that enable us to communicate. First, your brains now is physically coupled to the sound wave that are transmitting to your brains. And second, we developed a common neural protocol that enables us to communicate. So how do we know it? In my lab in Princeton, we bring people to the fMRI scanner, and we scan the brains while they're either telling or listening to real-life stories. And to give you a sense of the stimulus we are using, let me play you now 20 seconds from a story that we used, told by a very talented storyteller, Zimo Gray.
So I'm banging out my story, and I know it's good. And then I start to make it better by adding an element of embellishment. Reporters call this making shit up. And they recommend against crossing that line. But I had just seen the line crossed between a high-powered dean and a salt with a pastry. And I kind of liked it.
Okay, so now let's look into your brain and see what's happening when you listen to this kind of stories. And let's start simple. Let's start with one listener and one brain area, the auditory cortex that processes the sounds coming from the ear. And as you can see, in this particular brain area, the responses are going up and down as the story unfolding. And now we can take these responses and compare it to the responses in other listeners in the same brain area. And we can ask how similar are the responses across all listeners. So over you can see 5 listeners. And we start to scan their brains before the story is starting, when they sit behind the dark and waiting for the story to begin. And as you can see, the brain area is going up and down in each one of them, but the responses are very different and not in sync. However, immediately as the story is starting, something amazing is happening.
So I'm banging out my story, and I know it's good. And then I start to make it.
Suddenly you can see that the responses in all of the subjects going locked to the story, and now they are going up and down in a very similar way across all listeners. And in fact, this is exactly what's happening now in your brains when you listen to my sound speaking. And we call this effect neural entrainment.
Wow, isn't that cool? Thank goodness we're not all laying in those scanners right now, but our brains would maybe be kind of matching up. I love that. So, we're going to see a little more of the end of this. I encourage you to watch everything in between. But for now, just think about how we're made for this coupling, as he calls it, this neural connection. We long for this kind of sharing. We're made for it. You get it, and I get it, and we're getting it together, right? We're hearing the music together. We're hearing the story together. I think it looks a lot like this example that Yuri shared at the end of his talk.
Because after all, the people we are coupled to define who we are. And our desire to be coupled to another way is something very basic, but starting at the very early age. So let me finish with an example with my own private life that I think is a good example how coupling to other people really going to define who we are. This is my son Jonathan at a very early age. And see how we developed a vocal game together with my wife, only from the desire and pure joy of being coupled to another human being. Now think how the ability of my son to be coupled to us and other people in his life going to say the man is going to become. And think how you change on a daily basis from the interaction and coupling to other people in your life. So keep being coupled to other people. Keep spreading your ideas, because the sum of all of us together, coupled, is greater than our parts. Thank you.
The sum of all of us together is greater than our parts. So we got to watch that baby again. And this time, we're just going to shrink it down just to the baby scene. And I want you to write down in your brain or even on the paper one thing that you notice going on there, okay? So just take it in and enjoy it and look for something that you notice.
This is my son Jonathan at a very early age. And see how we developed a vocal game together with my wife, only from the desire and pure joy of being coupled to another human being.
I could watch that 1,000 times. So what did you see? What are some words? Smiles. Confusion. Nonsense. Eye contact. Connection. I saw tenderness and joy. One more time, the mask is getting in the way. Timing. Oh yeah, they were synchronized. Yeah. And love. A mother's love. Presence, right? The child had the power, was kind of leading, and the mom was following. This was better than better connection, better than better communication. There was no function other than connecting in that. There was no manipulation unless the baby was trying to make his mom do something, right? So seeing this mom and child and imagining the impact that kind of connecting has when we're young, it really makes me think about how important how we communicate with each other is and what we're doing when we talk to each other. Brene Brown's word of stewardship feels right. So our stories that we're sharing have such value. They're assets that we need to steward. They're not things that we get to keep or have or be stingy with. It reminds me of the parable that Greg shared at Anne's memorial a week ago yesterday. This parable of the talents. It's about a man who's going away and entrusts his assets to his servants, giving them each at least one talent, which was a measure of wealth, and it was a lot, like a lifetime's wages. And they were each supposed to take care of this wealth, and they had more than enough to use and to share, but one of them, it is said, knew that the master was a harsh man. That servant knew about better, right? So he was afraid, and he buried the talent in the ground. If better communication is a fearful, prudent, cautious, controlled, sitting on our assets, better than better communication is more like that musical sing-song interaction. We're out there. We're being silly. We're letting go. That's easy to see in a child, right? But what does this look like when we get big and complicated? It's not always that delightful and fun. I wish it were. And I wonder, when does that idea get planted in us that we're not enough? That there's some way to be better, to do better? That parable gets at that hard spot for me, and I don't think I'm alone. I mean, who do you see yourself as in that story? I'm afraid I'm the servant with the one talent that didn't use it, that's gonna not live my life, not share, not be generous, and be banished by the harsh master, right? Greg said that for those of us who knew Anne, we saw this, she was not one to sit on her assets. It was true. We experienced her generous sharing of herself, her curious and caring listening, her love, and so much more. But does that mean that Anne never felt scared or never felt like she might not be enough? Of course not. We all have that fear because we're human. We become self-conscious and we realize we're exposed. Adam and Eve in the story, they were in paradise and they realized they were naked and they covered themselves up to protect themselves. I want to ask an important question of us. Why do I and others, maybe you, hear that story of the talents and think that servant's view of the master as this harsh and stingy guy, why does that mean that this is how it actually all works? Why do we think that master is God? I think it's because we're seeing it from our perspective, right? Our better perspective. We've been carefully taught. I think this book is hard, and it's full of better than better connective communication, but we've been taught it and read it with our eyes of better and comparison and earning, and so much gets lost in it, just like so much gets lost in our communications. You and I need to grow our better than better communication eyes and muscles. We want to do this stretching towards this connecting, right? And we do it a lot, and we all can grow. We all want to be seen. We all want to see each other. So let's finish up here with what helps us do that. How does this stretching look? The first one is simple. We stretch to actually see others. And there's a practice that can help us. There's a lot of ways to do that. One I want to highlight is just this simple idea of checking for understanding. But the trick is to really listen from their perspective. What is their perspective? What are they trying to say? What is most important to them? And then say it back and say, am I hearing you? And say it in the most elegant words that you can muster, as if you're stewarding, right? Because you are. And then ask them, did I get it? And we know this can feel disingenuous, right? I mean, you don't want to do it just to be a good listener or to ultimately get them to do what you want. Like, you actually can be curious. All right. It's complicated, though. What if we're listening to someone and they make us feel scared? Or they make us feel crazy, frustrated, angry? Are we just supposed to ignore all that and let it go, or let go of our principles and our convictions? No. That is where the second stretching comes. We have to stretch to see what is true. What is actually true? We can never know it, but we get glimpses, and it's really important that we do. Jesus was asked once, what is the most true thing that we should all know? What is the thing I should do to be saved, right? And he said, love God, love others as you love yourself. Love God and love others as you love yourself. So, but what do we really know about God and others and ourselves? What do we know about this source of life, this mystery in our world? There's another story that can help us, because the truth is, stories can hold the truth so much better than just our words. The story was about Zacchaeus. Jesus was coming into town, and Zacchaeus wanted to see Jesus. And Zacchaeus was not a great guy, kind of a crook. Nobody liked him because he really had done some crooked things. So he didn't really want to be seen. He hid in a tree so that he could see Jesus. And then Jesus saw him and said, Zacchaeus, I see you. I'm coming to your house. I see you. Jesus saw people over and over and over in stories. People asked, I want to see. I want to be seen. And he said, yes. Yes. So stretching to see what is true. It's a trusting, isn't it? It requires a self-forgetting, a little bit of self-forgetting. Those who lose their life will find it. That doesn't mean you should ignore or diminish yourself. Your true self is not the problem. It's the self-centeredness. And when we put ourselves in the center, we think we're on our own, so we do that. Jesus had these friends, these disciples that followed him around all the time and knew him really well. They were supposed to really know all this, right? And they'd hear all these parables, and one time they said, Jesus, how can we possibly do this? This is so hard. It's impossible. It's impossible to be that good. And Jesus said, yeah, I see you. You're right. On your own, it's impossible. Together with God, we got this. We got this. So that is the next stretch, to trust that, to trust and to be trustworthy with yourself and with others. Do others feel seen by you? Probably not all the time. Maybe you could ask and listen. Listen to what they say. Stretch to understand. Stretch to share what you feel, what you hear, what you see. And what about yourself? What about you? Are you trustworthy with yourself? Or are you sometimes a harsh master? Better than better communication as we grow can feel more like an all-out wrestling match than that sing-song banter that we saw and loved in the video. Brene Brown calls it a rumble. So we stretch to wrestle. With all that we have coming, that we're bringing to that wrestling ground, all of our experiences, all of our hurts, all of our strengths, all of our feelings, and we choose to trust anyway that it's going to be okay, that that is what we're here for, to wrestle and to connect with each other and with ourselves and with this bigger truth in the world. This is where we can see growth. This is where we get out of our stuck high conflicts and we wrestle with one another to find growth and to know each other and see possibility that we couldn't see before. It's so important. We're all needed in this, even our perceived flaws. In the first week, that was a big part of it. We perceive these flaws, we don't want to be seen, but it's through those flaws and with those flaws that we think are flaws that actually become strengths and connective tissue. We need it. We need it all. And let's name it, sometimes doesn't feel like a wrestling match. Sometimes it can be a dance. It can be so joyful and so sweet when we can connect. So let's be open to that. Wrestle, dance, whatever you do, these are all ways that we can continue to persist and insist on life. All right. There's a picture of this in a movie that I have not yet seen, and I'm going to. It's called Avatar. And I love this scene. I think you will too. If you've seen it, you'll probably get it even more than I do. But there's so much behind this, and you just know it by watching. There's so much behind this. So they've done a lot of wrestling and a lot of dancing to get to this point.
Well, if you would, go ahead and find those baskets near your cluster of chairs. You put communication cards, and you brought brought financial contributions, put those in there too, and pass them or go ahead and bring them down front here. We're going to wrap things up real quick here, but I'm going to play this song from Frank Turner. It's called Be More Kind. Technical difficulty. History's been leaning on me lately. I can feel the future breathing down my neck. All the things I thought were true when I was young and you were too, turned out to be broken. I don't know what comes next in a world that has decided that it's going to lose its mind. Be more kind, my friends. Try to be more kind. Started raising walls around the world now, like hackles raised upon a cornered cat. On the borders in our heads, between the things that can and can't be said. Stop talking to each other. There's something wrong with that. So before you go out searching, decide what you will find. Be more kind, my friends. Try to be more kind. You should know not alone. Trouble comes, trouble goes. How this ends, no one knows. So hold on tight. When the wind blows, blew both of us, sand and sea. Where the dry land stands is hard to say. As the current drags us by the shore, we can no longer say for sure who's drowning, if they can be saved. When you're out there floundering, like a lighthouse I will shine. Be more kind, my friends. Try to be more kind. Like a beacon reaching out to you right, can we stand up for this very last one? This is one of several YouTube songs that Ann made comment over the years about really enjoying and appreciating. So, this one's called Every Breaking Wave.
Thanks, band. Yeah. Wow. Thank you, Anne. Good song selection. Kids, welcome back. You were talking about belonging, so were we. And we were talking about how our listening and our words can be used to help us belong, to help us connect. And there's a story about a kid that I want to share. It's really short before you go. It's from Paula Underwood, and she's from the Turtle Clan. She's a clan mother in the Iroquois Nation. And she tells this story that I get to tell you now. And I like that you're standing. When I was a little bitty kitty, about 5, my dad began a process. Anytime somebody came and said something to us, my dad would say, "You remember what he said, honey girl?" I would tell my father what the person had said until I got so good at it, I could repeat verbatim, even long presentations of what that person had said. And he did this all the time. Finally, one day, there was this old gentleman, Richard Thompson. I still remember his name. He lived across the street. And every time my dad started to mow the lawn, there came Mr. Thompson, and so I would stand out there. Dad says, "You might come and listen to this man, honey girl. He's pretty interesting." So I listened to him. And then my dad would say, "What did you hear him say?" And I would tell him. Well, eventually, I was repeating all the stories he liked to share with my dad verbatim, every single word. I knew them all by heart. And my dad says, "You are getting pretty good at that. But did you hear his heart?" And I thought, what? So I went around for days with my ear to people's chests, listening for their hearts. Finally, my dad created another learning situation for me, asking my mother to read an article from the newspaper. He says, "Well, I guess if you want to understand that article, you need to read between the lines." I thought, oh, read between the lines. Hear between the words. So next time I listened to Mr. Thompson's stories, I tried to listen between the words. My dad said, "I know you know his story, but did you hear his heart? Did you hear his heart?" And I said, "Yes. He's very lonely, and he comes and shares his memories with you again and again because he is asking you to keep him company in his memories." It just came out of me. In other words, my heart echoed his heart. And when you can listen at that level, then you can hear not only the people. If you really pay attention, you can hear what the universe is saying. Can we really pay attention? And I think this is a step to connecting and building what we're going to talk about next week, a better than better world, with the help of our middle schoolers. So thanks for being here. It went a little long. Thanks for going with that. It's not that nice out, but we can have fun in the snow. So do that, and thank you again for all of the ways you connect with fabric. Thanks for the jewelry, Allison. She'll be there. So take care, everybody. Thanks, band.
Keep on moving, keep your head up, keep my 'cause we, 'cause we said we are family.